One day I was cleaning some tuna on the cutting board on the way in from a successful trip, and these Japanese guys are reaching over my shoulder, eating raw, bloody tuna off of the cutting board.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what are you guys doing? So I'm like, I got extra tuna every single day.
Yeah.
So I started trading fresh fish for free sushi.
Okay.
So now I'm eating sushi for free.
That is the basis for your skill sets in the future.
Yeah. And I thought I was getting the good deal and getting like $50 off. I'm giving these guys like $5,000 worth of tuna for free. I started my cancer research career in 97.
Okay.
So I did cancer research, worked at Genentech, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, MedImmune.
Wow. Completely new. I have
Yeah.
and I've known you for years. I just never knew. I've always known you as Sushi Randy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's Mauricio Mejia live on YouTube.
It's Mauricio Mejia live, and you know where we're at. Studio B, that's right, in the heart of Silicon Valley, right? Tech capital of the world in downtown San Jose. And we're bringing it to you live every week inside of Mauricio Mejia Live. And before we get started today, I just got to say, man, I got to give a big shout out to my boy and someone that I just been following for many years, Joe Rogan. I got to tell you, man, Alpha Brain definitely works. And I've been on it now for about 2 weeks. And I got to tell you, I can feel the difference. So got to give a big shout out to the Alpha Brain team out there. Keep doing what you're doing. And one more quick shout out. My business partners and team, Super Patch. I'm all patched up, guys. You know how we do it. We got the energy, we got the freedom, the Lumi, and one of my favorites, Liberty, guys, for balance. So, guys, check it out on my links. Make sure to visit my teammates and sponsors and all that good stuff. But most importantly, today, super excited. We're doing a huge collaboration. It's the first time that we're actually having a chef on the show. We're going to be talking about food. But we're also going to be talking about entrepreneurship and the journey, because I know what it's like to be in the entertainment industry for many years and then be a part of the restaurant world. And I know that it could be a tough business. So without further ado, I want to welcome today a good friend, business entrepreneur here in the Silicon Valley. He's got a great story he's going to share with us. Today, I want to welcome you, Sushi Randy. Sushi Confidential. Thank you, man, for making the time. By the way, you brought us some sushi too. We're gonna be showcasing some of that and eating some of it. Man, you've come a long way, my brother. You've come a long way, and I want to say thank you for making the time, being here today. And we're looking forward to sharing your story with the thousands of people. We just broke the 45,000 mark.
Nice.
And on YouTube, you can't buy those. You gotta earn them. So it's been some time. So today is monumental. Again, thank you so much for making the time and being here. And let's talk sushi, man.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I do for
forever,
24 hours a day, right? So
you eat, drink, think sushi, man.
Yeah,
it's got to be a love and a passion to do what you do.
Yeah, it's a definite passion. We'll get into my background, but I didn't do sushi, my whole life. It's just been somewhat more recent, if you will, but it's been a long, fun journey. And, when you follow your passion, you do the things you love to do. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's a fun grind.
I can't even imagine. It's just the food industry is, the margins are so, they're small, but if you do volume and you do special events and all that, that's where the gravy's at, really, on these types of endeavors. Yeah. But let's get into the beginning. Let's start, because we gotta pace ourselves here. I don't want to give all the goodies out now. Born and raised here in Silicon Valley?
San Diego.
Okay. Yeah. All right. There you go. Yeah. How'd you end up in the Bay?
Yeah.
That's how the story's going to go, huh?
Right. Yeah.
I love San Diego, by the way. The only problem with San Diego is that when I go to San Diego, I don't even want to work. I don't want to hustle. It's just the vibe in San Diego. The minute you get to San Diego, just the vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, whether when you go on vacation to most places, you kind of get into that vacation mode. But living there too. You have that vibe, and you're laid back, and the Silicon Valley is a lot different, especially when you're here for work.
Fuck, it's a monster here, man. Silicon Valley is a monster.
For sure.
I mean, when you compare it to any other place in the world, this is a monster. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But so share with us. So San Diego, so you were born in San Diego. You went to school in San Diego, obviously, and
well, I went to junior high school.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's how deep we go. We got to start from the roots
For sure.
because we want people to know, right? Because at the end, they only see the highlights of who they may know Sushi Confidential, Sushi Randy, but they don't know the journey,
right?
And that's part of what we do here is we talk about. Every entrepreneur has a story and a journey that we want to share with the world because it's important. Why? Because the next restaurateur is watching right now.
For sure.
And you might be saying something today that'll trigger him and turning on that light switch that says, if he could do it, I could do it too.
Yeah.
And that's really what and it's the same thing that for me, if I saw that guy, if he could promote that, I can promote it. And then it just makes me competitive.
Yeah.
So
and when you listen to, my story and a lot of entrepreneurs, when you hear the detailed story from the starting point to where they are now, it almost sounds planned, but it's not, right? Like you're listening to individuals on how they got to where they are, and like, whoa, how did you plan all that? And it's like, I didn't plan any of this or the majority of it. It's like just that next thing comes and that opportunity that you took, and it just took you in that direction. So it sounds like it's pre-crafted when it's not.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
I know that in the industry, I was in the entertainment industry for a very long time, which, by the way, you're dipping into a little bit now by default, not by choice, by default. But the entertainment industry, I got to learn. Luckily, I had a great mentor. Harry Evans was my mentor here in the Bay Area. I started originally in Southern California in Los Angeles, and then I moved up to the Bay in '94 and been here now 31 years now. So I consider myself a San Jose, rooted in San Jose now. But I got to learn through a lot of my mistakes. And at the same time, learning from the mistakes that I was making, I also got a lot of great wins out of that. And it allowed me to then continue to grow and then master the business of entertainment to the point where I needed to pivot because that industry, I mean, I did it for 25 years, man. That industry,
and not many people last that long.
No. I mean, so when I tell people I got high miles, man,
sure.
and I'll party anybody. So I'm like, woo. But the restaurant industry, I mean, it's a pretty intense industry you chose.
Yeah.
And I want to know. I mean, obviously, in your young years, you didn't plan to do sushi,
right?
What was the beginning of all that? What sparked that journey? Or share with us.
Yeah. Well, growing up in San Diego, kind of the father-son bond I had with my dad, or still have with my dad, is he took me fishing and started off fishing in little streams and then lakes. And when I turned, I think 12 or 13, he took me out into the ocean, right out of Point Loma sport fishing. And fell in love with it, out on the water, catching fish, right? And I'm like, wow. And I saw the captain and I saw these deckhands working, and some of the deckhands were, 15, 16 years old at the time.
Talk about child exploitation, labor exploitation there, Jesus.
Back in the 80s, right? So I'm like, gosh, how'd you guys become a deckhand? This is pretty cool to be out here working every day, because when you love something, it's not work anymore. And
that's right.
They said, we came out fishing a lot, and then we started fishing for free and kind of cleaning the boat on the way in, and they call them pinheads. So I'm like, well, I want to be a pinhead, and so I started fishing for free.
Okay,
and cleaning.
But you got to take some of the fish, right? I mean,
well, of course.
Yeah. I'm like,
so
all right.
I'm out there fishing along
You're
with
fishing,
all the other.
You're feeding
passengers.
your family, or taking.
But I didn't have to pay for it, and then quickly the captain said, "Hey, we want you to start working here." So fast forward 10 years working on fishing boats.
Wow.
And being around fish. And one day I was cleaning some tuna on the cutting board on the way in from a successful trip, and these Japanese guys are reaching over my shoulder, eating raw, bloody tuna off of the cutting board.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Like the fish is probably still alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's you see the
That's a real
the
sushi.
fillet moving. I'm like, you guys are crazy. And they're like, no, this is the best. This is, maguro. This is yellowfin tuna. You can't get it fresher than this.
Oh, my God.
And so they owned a sushi restaurant right down the street, and they said, hey, if you ever have any extra tuna, bring it in. So I'm like, I got extra tuna every single day.
Yeah.
So I started trading fresh fish for free sushi.
Okay.
So now I'm eating sushi for free. And
man, you're a total barter here.
Yeah,
Barterer
I wasn't
here.
trying.
Yeah, man, you're just hustling. I love it. No, I love it. I love it. Okay.
So
little do you know that is the basis for your skill sets in the future.
Yeah. And little did I know at the time, I thought I was getting the good deal and getting like $50 off. I'm giving these guys like $5,000 worth of tuna for free, right?
They were giving you rice and the rice and some fish.
Yeah. So I thought I was getting hooked up at the time, but so I got addicted to eating it, and the summer ended, and I went back to college after the summer ended. I went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
Nice. Okay. Great school.
Yeah.
Great school.
Learned by doing.
What were you doing studying there? Because that's an engineering school.
Biology.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
yeah.
Went back to college, told my roommates that, hey, this is what I ate this summer.
Yeah.
Let's go out for sushi. So they're like, all right, like we haven't tried it before, but let's do it. So we went out for sushi, and they loved it, and I loved it, and the bill came.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what's this? There's a bunch of zeros on this, and I don't know.
What?
So
how many people?
It was three of us.
Okay.
It was like $150.
Okay.
For three of us on a college allowance.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
3 tacos for $1, mac and cheese. Like that's what you're supposed to eat, not a $150 meal.
You guys feasted. You guys feast. That was a feast.
So I knew that wasn't sustainable. And working on boats, I knew where to get fresh fish.
Wow.
So I started going to Avila Beach and Morro Bay.
There you go.
Went to the fish market, got fresh fish, and kind of started teaching myself how to make sushi out of my college kitchen.
I kind of feel that what you just said right now just reminded me of, me being in the entertainment nightclub business, bottle service, right? Like I know the cost of bottle service, like the bottle.
For sure.
And when bottle service came and people would get the bill, I'm like, not that I was laughing, but I was like, man, I will never do bottle service. Like I've gone to many mega super nightclubs around the world, and I don't want to say that I've never done bottle service, but I've never done bottle service, right? Like I know the cost of the good,
For sure.
So I'm like, but that popped in my head that the product,
Right.
And when you put it on, when you go through, when you do the whole presentation and it comes out and you're actually now consuming, you're on the consumer side.
Yeah.
Hey,
Much different.
So I don't know. That popped up in my head, man. So.
Yeah, so that was kind of my first motivation I better learn how to do this because I want it every single night and I can't afford it.
Oof, yeah.
So,
well, sushi, I tell you, I love salmon. I can eat salmon sushi, sashimi style.
Yeah.
Every night I could do that. That and a little bowl of a cup of rice.
For sure. Well,
I'm golden.
What's interesting with salmon is most people think of tuna for sushi, but out of all the fish we sell, 50% of the fish is salmon, right? And then you have about 25%, which is tuna, and then the other 25% is split up between albacore, yellowtail, which is hamachi.
I love hamachi.
Other types of fish,
yes.
but salmon is the number one out of all sushi restaurants. It's the number one selling fish.
I love it. And then there's different versions of salmon. There's the salmon that's got they call it, I guess, from the belly part, or the
Toro.
like, where it's more it's supposed to be much more juicier,
fattier,
and it's much more expensive too because it comes from, I guess that's the best part of the tuna.
And there's not a lot of it, right? You have your whole fillet that's 5 pounds, and you only have 8 ounces of the Toro section. But I mean, you refer to Toro as the belly for pretty much all fish, but a lot of times there isn't that much of a deviation from your normal filet to the belly portion.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you hear toro, most people think of bluefin tuna.
Got it.
Right? So you'll have the toro or you'll have the bluefin tuna. That might be $15-$20 a pound, but the toro is like $80, $90, $100 a pound. So
Wow.
huge.
That's a big
deviation.
difference. Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So tell us. All right. So you're in college. You're addicted to tuna.
Right.
Obviously, you got expensive taste.
Yeah.
So what's happening next?
Yeah, so started making it for myself and my roommates.
Okay.
This is before YouTube. This is before Google how to make spicy mayo or how to make sushi. So it was definitely, trial by error.
That's definitely
learn by doing.
some college stuff right there,
Yeah.
man. You got to get creative. Okay.
For sure. Still had to go into the sushi restaurant on occasion because you'd go to the chef and you're like, hey, what's in spicy mayo? And he's like, oh, sriracha and mayo. Uh-huh. You're like, oh, got it.
That's
so
it.
You make it at home and you're like, this is not the same.
No, there's
So
something
then you go
missing.
back and you're like, I did the spicy mayo or I did the sriracha and mayo and it's not the same. And he's like, oh, sesame oil. Oh, so you'd go back and there's like 30 ingredients in it. He kept getting me to come back and spend money, but it gave me a good learning experience on how to make really good spicy mayo.
There's no such thing as a free lunch, buddy.
Right.
Period. I
Yeah.
trust me. I've learned a lot in the business world through my lunches.
For sure.
Definitely, it's been an experience. So you're learning and you're moving on. Again, you're going through college.
Yeah.
Did you finish college? You get your biology degree?
For sure. Yeah.
So how's that degree working for you now?
Well, it brought me up to the Bay Area, so
Okay.
I started my cancer research career in '97.
Okay.
So I did cancer research, worked at Genentech, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, MedImmune,
Wow.
just to name
This
a
is something
few.
completely new. I have,
Yeah.
and I've known you for years. I just never knew. I've always known you as Sushi Randy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Funny story about that. I'm getting into the Bay Area scene and going to bars and clubs or whatever. And as a cancer research scientist, people introduce you. It's like, oh, this is my buddy. Oh, hey, nice to meet you. And, imagine being at a nightclub going, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I do cancer research. They turn around
It's not really
and
sexy.
they run away.
It's not
right.
real sexy. It's not sexy.
And now when I open up my sushi restaurant, they're like, oh, dude, you're that sushi guy. Oh, can I get a photo with you? I'm like, dude, I've been curing cancer for 17 years.
Wow.
And you walk away from me. And now that
Wow.
I make sushi, you want a photo? It's just bizarre. Just crazy. Anyways, so graduate, move up to the Bay Area, start my cancer research career. And living in the Bay.
A lot of people don't know that the Bay Area has a big medical,
huge.
a big. It's kind of like their own Silicon Valley of the med world.
For sure.
The research.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot
hub.
of it's in South San Francisco.
Yeah,
and a lot
Brisbane
of it,
and all that. Yeah.
And a lot of it was born by Genentech. And as Genentech started to grow, a lot of the leadership team over time, they get their own ideas on what to do and they leave and start other startup companies.
It's the Google PayPal effect,
oh, yeah.
man. It's PayPal Mafia, Google. I mean,
Yeah.
all those guys broke away and look where they're at today.
Yeah.
So okay, so all right, so you're in that industry. How long did you last? In 17 years, you said. I heard. Okay.
Yeah. And two things. One, living in the Bay Area and especially on a college entry level salary, you need a little side hustle.
Yeah.
We didn't have DoorDash or Uber, so I couldn't drive for money. I found a local sushi restaurant and it was a cool, fun vibe. And I said to the owner one day, I'm like, hey, I'd love to, learn how to make it professionally. I already have my own sushi knife. Here's some photos of sushi I've made at home. And he was intrigued by it. And next time I came in, he's like, hey, I want you to work here.
Okay.
I'm like, well, I have a career job. You can't pay me what I
Right.
need. But I could maybe offer a couple days a week. And that's kind of where that started.
That's passion right there,
Yeah.
man. That's passion. I
Yeah.
mean, you're working your brain and
Yeah.
doing what you're doing, and
sure.
then it's almost like probably that was your therapy.
Yeah.
That's got to be therapeutic.
the do it being a cancer research scientist is a very introverted, task-oriented type of job.
Wow.
Not a lot of instant gratification. You can work on a project for 3 years and then it fails clinical trials, or another company beats you to market and then you just shelve it. And I'm stuck in the lab, right? I'm in the lab. I got my lab coat, and I've been wearing masks for 25, 30 years, right?
Wow.
COVID brought out masks for everyone, but I was in that life working with those types of viruses and cancers. So,
wow. But
doing that, I'd have to go to the bars to like talk to people and be extroverted and
fuck, that's a decompression for me.
Well, exactly. So I was able, but I couldn't really afford that because I was on this entry level type of salary. So working at a sushi restaurant allowed me to almost like be a bartender, and bartenders in the nightclub. I was able to be behind a sushi bar. People would come in and be like, God, I don't know what I want to order. I've been craving sushi. I've been making decisions all day. Just make me something fun, right? So then I got my creative juices to, kind of flow out.
Yeah, let me get you some sake first. Here's some hot sake. Could loosen you up.
For sure.
We're about to take your pocket right now, so don't worry. All right.
So that, and doing it 2 days a week, I started developing this following where people knew I worked every Tuesday and Thursday night. So they would come in on Tuesday or Thursdays.
What city were you working when you were doing
that
this?
was in Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right there in Campbell, small little mom and pop sushi restaurant, and just kept doing it 2 nights a week pretty much for 10 years.
Nice.
And that's because it wasn't full time, I was able to work a couple nights, and then I was able to hang out with my customers and my friends.
Yeah.
So now I'm going out, I'm going camping, I'm going to
you're finding your balance is what you're doing.
For sure.
It's a balance, man. I mean, I can't even imagine when you just said right now, a cancer scientist. Damn, that's deep.
Yeah.
Randy. I mean to think of the impact that you were making in that universe, man.
Yeah.
And for the amount of years, 17 years is not a short period. That's
right.
that is a long period of time invested. And then you're doing something that you're passionate and you're falling in love with.
Right.
And eventually, what happens there? Because it seems like you jumped off the cliff and said, "I'm all in."
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. How's that experience?
Having customers, again, you don't realize it's 10 years, but then all of a sudden it's 10 years, and you have new sushi chefs, coming in and working, and you don't really realize how far you've advanced. For me on the sushi side, until like new chefs started coming in, I'm like, God, I remember way back when I didn't have the knowledge I have now. Yeah. So I'm almost becoming this expert in sushi, and it just seemed like it happened overnight because it's fun. I had that passion. So a lot of my customers were saying, hey, when are you going to open up your own restaurant? And that's kind of the pinnacle, I guess, of a chef, like opening up your own restaurant. But coming from the corporate side, number one, and number two, realizing, how many restaurants fail in their first year or two? 50%?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a somewhat conservative guy, and I don't want to fail.
Yeah.
Like, I have a fear of failing.
I think we all do. Everybody has that fear. Nobody wants to land on their face.
Right,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And especially when a lot of people, I had been around the Bay Area for a while and had a lot of friends. So it's embarrassing to have that happen. So I said, okay, a lot of my customers are telling me they're going to follow me wherever I go. Okay, let's check this out. So I end up going to another sushi restaurant for about a year or two. So I'd been in one location for so long, I wanted to see how other sushi restaurants did it. So I went to a restaurant in Willow Glen, sushi restaurant, and a lot of my customers followed me there. And I'm like, okay, wow, they said they were going to follow me. And a lot of customers go to different sushi restaurants, locally. So you start seeing some of the same customers. And I said, okay, I'm going to do one last test.
Okay.
in research, you do pilot studies.
Yeah.
Pilot studies, a small study.
Absolutely.
Before we do something really big, we're doing this little small one to see if it works.
Yeah.
We need to change things around. So I had roommates at the time, and I said, hey, guys,
We're doing a pilot study right now, just so
I
you
love
know.
it. Appreciate it.
No, man, we're listen, Randy. Nothing makes me more happier than to see others be successful.
Yeah.
And your vision, your dreams, and what you've done and accomplished, it's fulfilling to me.
Right on.
And when you shared what you wanted to do as eventually, getting onto a network, I'll do everything in my powers and my resources with the team that we have to put something like this together. And that's why, hey, everything happens for a reason.
Of course.
I don't believe in coincidence. I think that there's a bigger plan here, and I definitely want to be a part of this journey because and I'm going to share with you. I have to before. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have to share. I've always wanted to. I owned a nightclub. I accomplished that dream. I wanted to be a mega nightclub owner. I accomplished that dream. I wanted to work for the big casinos in Las Vegas. I didn't want to work. I wanted to be partners with them. And Dre's was one of my favorite operators at the time back then, before he picked up the Twins and at the time Paris Hilton. And I was actually in the works with talking to them back in 06, 07. And I wanted to reach that accomplishment. Along the way, I also wanted to own my own sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
I was inspired, and I think I shared with you this a couple of days ago. I was inspired by two brands, Blowfish in San Francisco and Masaki in San Francisco. They were both, and then Blowfish moved to San Jose and
Santana Row.
Santana Row back in 2004.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I'm like, I want to, because I wanted to own a sushi nightclub, like like sushi, like you have your sushi and then you're listening to some dope house music or just music, and you're eating. It just sushi was always sexy to me.
Yeah.
To the point that to this day, I never let go of the domain, but I own the brand sakebomb.com.
Nice.
Sakebombsushi.com because I wanted to do the sake bomb, and the whole sushi concept, because that's what the little lounge idea that I had.
Yeah.
So it's been a passion project for me. But anyway, that's just kind of like, so today when we're sitting here and we're talking about this, and then we're talking about developing, a pilot, it just took me back to that moment where, well, we're here and we're working on a pilot for you, because I want to see you on TV, brother.
Yeah.
You deserve to be on there. So anyway, those are my 2 cents right now on my thoughts. So you're doing this pilot, you got your friends, and you're deciding that you wanted to explor the next step. So what happens?
So my pilot was I'm turning my living room into a restaurant.
What?
Yeah. So I said, and at the time,
that's some ghost kitchen shit right there.
But at the time, I'm going through my yearly goals through my corporate life, right? Mm-hmm. So I got to see what the company wants to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there writing all those goals, but I also had my personal goals. So I'm doing them kind of in parallel. And my personal goals is, okay, what's the next step if I want to own a restaurant? So I pretty much wrote down, I'm going to turn my living room into a restaurant. And we moved out all the furniture. I bought folding tables from Home Depot, bought folding chairs from Home Depot, went to Cost Plus World Market and bought matching plates. And I was able to fit 30 people in my living room.
Damn, that's a restaurant right there.
Yeah.
30 people, that's pretty, okay.
And
where are you living, by the way?
Down in Almaden.
Okay.
Yeah.
At a house?
Yeah.
Okay.
At a house. I had, it was a 5-bedroom house with 5 roommates.
All right, there you go.
5-guy roommates, right?
That's a frat house right there, bro.
We'll leave those stories for another time.
You even turn red, brother.
Yeah.
We won't go there, but okay.
But so then I'm like, all right, how am I going to market this? And Facebook was already around at this point, and
early 2000s then.
No, this was in 2010, 2011.
Okay, yeah, Facebook.
Right? So after I had 10 years of experience, going from one restaurant to the other.
God, it seems longer, Randy.
I know.
Wow, it seems longer. Okay, so 2010. All right.
So I had, let's say, 1,000, 1,500 friends on Facebook, but this is when Facebook started to create an events section, right? And we always used Evite. Yeah. Evite, right? Everyone had Evite.
Bro, you're dating us right now, but okay, yeah, Evite.
So the cool thing about Facebook now is you can do an event, but you can create a private event.
Oh,
So
okay.
it would show up on people's feeds, but only for them and not for everyone else.
Right. Just for your friends.
Right,
That's right. Yeah.
So, so I went through and I selected my, 400 closest friends type
Wow.
of thing, and just said, all right, let's see what happens. And I invited everyone, and and I did it 3 days in a row every week. Every Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, I'd have 30 people come over on Thursday.
Damn.
They'd walk in the door. They'd put $40. It was all you can eat. $40 in a jar, and I'm
doing the math right now, bro. Like, whoa, all right.
I'd have another server.
All right.
I'd have another sushi chef, and we would do family style. So I'd make 8 California rolls, 4 on this row of 15 people, and then this row of 15 people, and I just start making all different types of sushi rolls and edamame appetizers, and it actually became a networking event. People
Yeah.
would sit across from someone going, so
What do
how
you
do you
do?
know Randy?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that was kind of the first question, and all of a sudden people are dating and getting married out of this.
Oh, shit.
People are, someone's a mortgage broker and someone's looking to buy a house.
Cutting deals, yeah.
And it just became this great networking event, and everyone would leave a couple hours later, and then the next day we do it all over again. I'd have 90 people come through my house
week.
every week.
And repeats too, probably.
Yeah, a lot of people. Well, my roommates got half off. They're
Yeah.
like, we'll let you do this if we get half off. So they drop in $20 in the hat. But yeah, you'd get 2 or 3. Someone would come 2 to 3 times a week sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the unfortunate part, so I told everyone, hey, this is my underground parties, right? I wanted to call it Sushi Underground or Underground Sushi, and I wasn't sure which way to go. And I'm like, no photos. Like, if the health department found out, like, I'll never be able to get a license. So I was really sensitive to that. So one day at work, right, cancer research, I got some time. I put in the word into thesaurus, underground.
Boom.
The word confidential popped up. And during the day, cancer research, we're doing things where all my forms had to say Genentech confidential, Johnson & Johnson confidential. My life, I'm confidential by day. You didn't even know it until now.
No.
Confidential by day, sushi by night. These are my private secret parties. I'm calling this Sushi Confidential.
Wow. That when you said that, well, I got to tell you, the confidential and the sushi, that just reminded me of when I was in the nightclub business. I had my own little version in my head. I was Bruce Wayne during the day,
Nice,
and Batman at night. That's the way I looked at things, because during the day I was cutting deals. I was doing real estate development, and at nighttime I was Batman at the club.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's up? It's on."
Yeah.
So interestingly enough that you said it, I'm like, I see parallels, man.
Yeah.
There's the creation of a business and of a fun business like this. It definitely you got to play with things, man.
Yeah.
You got to play. The logo is amazing. I told you, we were talking about earlier. We want to animate that logo. I think that has got so many distinct elements to it that it could be an impactful as we move forward and develop that pilot that we're talking about.
for sure.
Right? So, all right. So now you got these little underground parties. You're creating this identity now, Sushi Confidential. What's happening next? Because this thing's eventually got to get out of control. Meaning
Right.
that it has to. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
People are just. I mean, the demand and because you're bringing so many people, it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
There's going to be that one customer that's going to say, why don't you go on your own, and what do you need?
Sure.
And that's like the aha moment.
Yeah.
So does that happen?
Yeah. So, these parties are successful. A lot of people coming over. And I got a phone call one day from a girl named Nicole Jacob.
Okay.
She was a bartender at the Cardiff, and she was just voted like the best bartender of the year, right? And so I think she was turning 25. And so she has all of her, girlfriends that they wanted to throw a party for her.
Okay.
And, I always envisioned her like for her 25th birthday, she'd be going to San Francisco to the hottest rooftop, restaurant or whatever.
Back then, it was probably Suite 181
Right.
or Ruby Sky
Yeah.
or Release. I don't know, one of those cool, or the rooftops. I don't know which ones were back then, but yeah.
So I get a call from her. She goes, "Hey, I heard about your Sushi Confidential parties at your house. Like, I want my 25th birthday there."
I love it. Your house
I'm
is already
like,
branded as Sushi
Are you
Confidential.
kidding me? You want to come to my house for your birthday with like 30 of your friends?
30 of your hot friends?
This is insane. So I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so she had her party there, and that was like, all right, we're going full throttle now on this.
Yeah.
We're like, this is
when the explosion happens.
Yeah.
This is when you're like, all of a sudden, you need to figure out what is the next plan, because
Right.
the pilot program is now started coming
for
to
sure.
an end.
Yeah. So, now I'm working at that second sushi restaurant and got a, more appreciation of stuff. And that's when I started looking in downtown Campbell, because that's kind of, the
It's a little-
bars were popping at
Yeah.
the time. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I was hanging out. And
Yeah,
I wanted to be.
the income is there too.
Yeah.
I mean, sushi again is not cheap.
Sure.
And
Yep.
and the Campbell area is definitely it's a hotbed for bars, restaurants. And just that environment. It's got great energy there. It's good. That little corridor has great energy. So I
Yeah.
can see where you're targeting that.
Yeah.
So I remember actually when you did your grand opening there.
Yeah.
Your first Sushi Confidential. So I don't want to blow, but how did we get to that part? What gave you that opportunity?
Yeah, so I then reached out to a buddy of mine who's in residential. He's a residential realtor, and I said, "Hey, will you help me kind of find a location?" So we started, reaching out to other mom and pop
Is that
sushi.
Hispanic?
Yeah,
All right.
Hispanic magic.
I love Hispanic. Hispanic's off the hook. He's still in the game.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a
got-
good clientele. He's got a
Yeah.
good Rolodex. He's got a good book of contacts there. Yeah,
And he
Good.
does a lot for a lot of the sports teams, NFL, hockey,
Yeah.
basketball. So I reached out to him, and he started approaching, down in Los Gatos, Campbell, other mom and pop restaurants. Like, hey, I got a buddy that might want to buy you out, and none of them were interested. And then he partnered with another buddy of his who had more commercial real estate ties. And that's when we found the downtown Campbell location.
Now that wasn't a restaurant before. Was
It
it?
was,
It was.
yeah.
What was that restaurant before?
It was a cafe and bistro.
Okay, that's I remember. I actually remember the logo. It was a cafe and bistro. Yeah, that's right.
So they only had half the side open each time. So during lunch, the cafe on one side, and then dinner was the bistro.
Got it.
And then we obviously opened it up and made it kind of one space.
Yeah.
and,
I remember that there was a wall that used to divide it, right?
Yeah,
Or
it was
something?
like a wall, but a sliding door that you could go back and forth. Yeah.
Okay. So Sushi Confidential is born. What year was that?
That was in 2012 when we
2012.
opened up. Yeah.
Okay.
So I kept my day job
All right.
because, as you know, in the restaurant business, you don't make money at the beginning.
You're rolling
if
the
you
dice.
ever make money.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to run a restaurant. I did cancer research, and I knew how to be a sushi chef.
That's it.
And that's it. So I found a GM that ran restaurants, had a lot of experience. Hired some of the sushi chefs that I knew. Hired a bunch of the serving staff, and so the GM managed the day-to-day operations while I was at my day job. So I'd be there from 8 in the morning till 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and then I'd drive straight to Campbell, and I'd jump behind the sushi bar or walk around the restaurant, shaking hands and kissing babies, and
Yeah.
did that till midnight, and do it all over again, and did that for a little over 2 years.
I was about to say it's got to create there's a burnout there. I could see it already.
Yeah.
I could feel it already. I could feel the just because of what I know now, I would have done differently back then.
Yeah.
I was doing real estate and nightlife. I was burning the candle on both ends
For sure.
And so I could just, and then when I was during the day, I was thinking about the nighttime.
Yeah.
So the amount of stress because we're thinking about our nighttime baby while we're taking
Sure.
care of our daytime baby.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you're splitting yourself.
Yeah.
And you're so I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Because the amount of brain power that you got to be using for cancer. I mean, it's not like it's just,
Right.
You're not rolling. So not that you don't have to use any brain for that, but there's a skill set. But that's got to be eating you up.
Yeah.
So I can see 2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say sooner than that, but okay,
Yeah.
2 years.
Well,
huh?
I mean, we needed some sort of profitability for me to be able to live at some level without my career job.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of what, the first year, figure things out, right? Okay, we got second year, start building sales to reach, a little bit of profitability to be able to say, okay, I can quote unquote retire from my day job and then just focus on sushi. But so what I did is now I'm doing sushi full time, but now I started consulting for biotech companies. So I kind of did that flip to where, okay, now a few days a week or work on some projects and be able to still bring in a supplemental income from the biotech side.
Yeah.
Until
you're blessed because for you to be able to do the flip.
Yeah.
And you have the experience, so I could see where you can transition yourself into a consultant now.
Yeah.
Because they don't need you full time. You have the wisdom now and the knowledge. You can compress.
Yeah.
You can shorten the learning curves a lot quicker because of the experience you have.
For sure.
So I can see now you're consulting. How long does that last? Because
that was on and off for maybe a couple years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year do you go full throttle? I mean, you're in already.
I mean, I think when we decided to open up our downtown San Jose location, so opening up the Campbell location in 2012, and then in 2015,
seems longer, man.
taking over the San Jose location. Didn't open until 2016. The inside, because we did a full.
You did a gut. I remember. I saw that.
We were 8 feet down in that building.
Yeah,
we were replacing every pipe.
I remember that building when it used to be the Sonoma Chicken Coop.
Yeah. Yep.
And I knew the family that was there. They used to run that place, and then when they went out and you guys came in. I thought we needed a place because Fuji Sushi right down the street was the only sushi we had. And at that time, prior to you guys coming in, there was the Blowfish at Santana Row. And then, of course, Japantown. You can't go wrong with Japantown because it's authentic.
Sure.
You got, Japantown.
Yep.
So, but interestingly enough, what you did is what I had envisioned for downtown is that we needed to have that fun sushi bar with the entertainment element embedded.
Yeah.
So you guys come in, I see that, and that wasn't little work, man. You guys did a complete gut out of that place. Complete gut out. I walked in, I was like, what are these guys doing? I was like, but you had a vision.
Yep.
And how many years now you're celebrating? How many years?
The overall brand, 13 years. And then downtown San Jose, I think we're coming on 10 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Throw a pandemic in the middle of there, but other than that.
I on top of all the learning curves that you probably went through, I mean, Randy, I know that being a business owner, operator is not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to dive into the because I know that you've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
And you've been blessed. How many locations do you have right now?
7 locations.
Damn.
We have 3 brick and mortars, a couple concessions, a couple kind of hybrids. So you never think about those as you're building out, but all of them are instrumental, and that doesn't even count all of our corporate catering and special events. So
wow, what a machine! You're building a machine, and you're not done. You're not done. What's the ultimate goal here? What your long term vision? I mean, obviously we're going to say opening up more, but what is that long term goal?
Yeah, I think starting with one location to where we are now, just continually building the brand throughout the Bay Area with additional brick and mortar locations. You get all these hybrid locations that kind of get bolt on along the way. Some of them just happen. Some might be a little bit more strategic. And then the ultimate goal is if I can find a big restaurant group, a big investment group that has the financial ability, the experience to maybe take our brand, across, through California, across the U.S., wherever they see that vision going. But keeping it locally now to be able to manage that and build that continuity, that brand. And I'm still learning every day. I'm no expert. I learn a lot of new things every day. And
I'm the same way. I'm a learning sponge or a learning machine, whatever. I know that every day I'm always open to learning new things because there's never enough, right? And the way I when I look at and think of your brand, I always think it's like an exotic. It is. It's got that confidential is what gives it that little if you know, you know.
Right.
But I can see it in Los Angeles. I can see it in San Diego, in your hometown.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it in like a Miami, Texas, Austin. The way I would envision this brand is that it's got that exotic flavor that it belongs in this exotic type.
For sure.
These known cities. Not that we want to disrespect these little towns, but a sushi brand in Tracy doesn't give it justice. Not that Tracy's not cool or anything, but people know if you live.
I have a few friends in Tracy.
They're cool. It's all right. I'm not capping on Tracy. I'm just saying I'm using it as an example. But that's kind of how I envision the brand growing. And I think not only that, but as you're growing the brand, growing your own personal brand, right? Because there's famous chefs that started, and then turned famous on TV. Guy Fieri, or the other one, Hell's Kitchen. Those guys, they've all started in the kitchen somewhere, and then eventually they had a vision too, like what you're doing now and what you're thinking about, and next thing you know, some network picks you up, and then you just grow from there, and then along the way. It seems that when you were doing these networking parties or these dinners, it's just a matter of time before that right person came in.
Yeah.
And I think that all it takes is that right person to catch something,
right, and
then say, "Hey, we want to take you to the next level."
For sure.
Because I think people out there that have different visions and different nights. There's an executive. I spoke to the lady who founded like David Letterman.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. Amazing. Nisha is her name. She's out of LA, out of Hollywood. She came up to South Toledo and we met for a business meeting, and she shared with me how she discovered David Letterman and that just so there's people that are looking to discover others, and you just never know where it will happen.
For sure. And
you'll never know, like the story that was shared about David Letterman was that he never wanted to be a talk host person. He wanted to be a writer for shows and do the back end, and he was doing part-time comedy at a comedy club in Hollywood, and then
they put two and two together.
And then she said, "Hey, you can do your day job, but come work, your nighttime stuff. But why don't you come and start doing this?" And and then again, it just kind of like what you just flipped over, and then, look what happens next. It blows up. So I'm always a believer that opportunity is always going to be there as long as we keep manifesting, seeking it out. My goal with my show here is that, hey, this thing blows up and we make a big global impact on other entrepreneurs and business people, and we get to have the Joe Rogans or the Ty Lopez or the big podcast celebrities. Have them here. Why not? Silicon Valley.
Yeah, for sure.
That's at least me thinking big here.
Yeah.
So
you got to.
We got to.
Yeah.
We got to continue the dream. So, all right. So you got 7 locations that you're, a couple brick and mortar, 7 locations. We're not gonna dive into I'm sure that you got the peaks and valleys there. Long term, so far in the 13 years of the brand, pretty successful.
Yeah.
You're growing. All right. What's next? In the next 12 months, what do you see right now? Especially we got some big events coming up. We got World Cup coming up. We got Super Bowl, and not that those are they're short term events, but the amount of traffic and attention that they bring to the area, the regional area.
Yeah.
Are you preparing for that stuff?
I'm a football junkie. I go to a lot of Super Bowls, or at least to the host city. So I love being around that environment, just that energy. When you're working 33 days straight, right? It's like, I got to get out of town and go here, go there. So I tend to go to a lot of the Super Bowls. So we were we had just opened up our Campbell location in 10 years ago when the Super Bowl was here for the first time.
Yeah.
And we were up in San Francisco 3 nights in a row. We were doing 4 events, in one day, just doing sushi action stations, a lot of catering. And that's when no one even knew who we were, right? So now planting a lot of those seeds, working with a lot of the hotels, working with a lot of the caterers, working with the city of San Jose, city of Campbell, and being there, being ready to be prepared, having our downtown San Jose location in San Pedro Square is going to be an epicenter for the Super Bowl this year. We have a very supportive mayor.
I love the mayor, bro. I love this. Yeah,
working so hard to get as many events down here.
Yeah. We just had Fisher not too long ago. We're bringing Steve Aoki in May, and we got we got the Block Party series coming back out. So I'm still involved in the events. I'm not.
You're in bed by 9 o'clock now. You're not waking up at 9 p.m. to go to work.
No, man. After those marathon days, I just can't wait to get home and just shut it off, man. Because I also know that if I pass a certain time, the cape's coming on
for sure,
and we're taking off. Yeah. So I have to be very, very careful with myself. But no, man, there's so many great things that are coming to San Jose. Silicon Valley is rebounding. I mean, who would think that 5 years ago what we went through, and really we haven't recovered from that yet, but we're seeing the momentum. Yeah, and I think that with these great opportunities that are coming. There's going to be a lot of possibilities. I definitely want to talk to you offline on a couple of things. I was working with the Big Three last year, bringing a basketball team to San Jose, and I know that you got great relationships. Like Sean Spanik would be somebody that I would love to talk to because of his experience in doing stuff like that. So definitely, again, now we're networking, right? Yeah. We're like, all right, we got relationships, and what greater idea to bring? We need to bring more vibrancies. Yeah. To the Bay Area and specifically to our San Jose because this is our backyard. Yeah, I mean, I truly live, work, play downtown San Jose. I live at Access. My office is here in downtown, and I love to play downtown. Yeah, because it's growing. Right, it's growing.
And there's what's so awesome about downtown San Jose is the amount of high-profile individuals that care about the city, that are making an effort, and that just trickles down to every single person, right? There's new restaurants opening up.
Yes, very excited about that.
Every other day, people are spending a lot of money to really increase the awareness and the vibe and the brand of downtown San Jose. Yeah. And it's an energy that's not matched in a lot of other areas. So it's exciting to see. We all want it to happen right this minute and reward us tomorrow. Yeah. But it just takes patience and just building that foundation to really be able to leverage, these big events that come down here and be ready and be prepared.
Well, we better get ready because 2025 is going to be a strong year for all of us, and 2026. If you're not prepared, you're not prepared. You're going to miss the boat on that one. Yeah. And I think that's for all businesses in our downtown. I think that what you have right now, you have a great position in the area that you're in. San Pedro Square is an epicenter of the downtown. And for what you're doing, you've kind of hybrided yourself where you're now restaurant is always going to be number one. Yeah. And the entertainment is almost like the little, accessory or the it amplifies or it adds. It's the additive to your environment because you got a dope patio, you have enough space. I mean, and the infrastructure around you is it's amazing. So great opportunities ahead, man. So what else? What is the prediction then that you think, or what's your thoughts on what's ahead for the downtown area for you then? Obviously, is that the one that catapults you to now the other expansions and the other thought processes or direction, I guess?
Yeah. owning restaurants and running restaurants and kicking open the front door just doesn't necessarily bring in what you need to survive.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of restaurants are feeling that. And that's where the creativity comes from. That's where, our big focus is on corporate catering.
Yeah.
Because it takes us outside our four walls.
Yeah.
But it's putting time and energy in all aspects of it, whether it's small little events, whether it's renting out our patio to corporate or, someone throwing a bar mitzvah or a birthday party, to, us working with the Sharks. We're also with the Bay Area Panthers. So we feed the players after every game. So we support them. So it's just really building, networking, and not looking for one particular avenue that's going to hopefully break you. It's like I said, that deeper foundation to be able to, bring in revenue from all different areas.
You got to cast that net far and wide, and then pull it in and see what fish you come or what you got.
Exactly.
Do you ever get tired of eating sushi?
No. The problem is day to day though. I don't enjoy. I don't sit down and eat it, right?
Yeah.
I run into the restaurant. Between meetings, I'm probably mostly late to a meeting, and I'm just like scarfing down a hand roll or something.
There you go.
But when I go out of town, I'm definitely seeking out a sushi restaurant wherever I go, and then that's when I get to sit down and enjoy it. And
do you criticize the rest? Do you when you there?
No,
not criticize openly, but like when you see something like, oh, I could have done this different. Or
yeah, I mean,
when I go to a nightclub now or a bar, I'm like, oh, they're doing. I lose the experience because I'm like all of a sudden the critic. I'm in there. I'm like, I would have done this different.
Yeah. No, I usually keep more of an open mind.
Yeah.
But what I do notice a lot now, even in regular restaurants, is if service happens to be bad at that moment, or the server's not getting to you or in time, or your drink is made and it's over at the bar and you see it and no one's running the drink, you notice things that aren't in tune how they should be.
That's right.
But I've been trying to perfect my restaurant for a long time, and I have a great team behind me who's on board to try to do the same thing. And it's like you said, you opened up saying this is a tough business.
Yeah.
And no matter how talented all of our team members are, there's curveballs that get thrown at you
left and right.
It's hard to make. I mean, I'll sit in my own restaurant and critique it.
Yeah,
that's why I don't sit there and eat. It's.
So I know you brought us some sushi. We're gonna, obviously I want to put this on. I want to showcase it really quick. And by the way, presentation. Look at that, guys. Fucking amazing. I love it. Sushi Confidential. I'm gonna dip my hands in it after in a minute, but you've been in the business now 13 plus years.
Well, I've been making sushi professionally since 2000. So we're 25 years.
So you've been doing sushi for 25 years.
Yeah.
You've been an owner-operator for 13 years, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I want to what are some of the things that you would share with that entrepreneur that's thinking about it right now while he's watching and he's thinking like, damn, one, I love the show. I love sushi, and I want to jump in. What are the words of wisdom that you can share with our audience out there?
Well, in my situation, having a career.
By the way, while you're talking, I'm going to grab one.
Yeah, go ahead. In my situation, having a career job and that paying the bills, and then working on your side hustle, you see a lot of sports figures that may not be making the millions of dollars, and they're deep into their sport, soccer, hockey, whatever it is, and then they're over, they're done, right? They're too old now to play, or a team doesn't pick up on them. And then they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Like they're starting from scratch, right? So for me to have a 17-year career in cancer research, and after a few years of starting a second career, which was just for fun, which was making sushi, by the time I decided to open up a restaurant and stop my career job, I already had 12 or 13 years in this. So having those dual careers kind of going simultaneously, because you try to jump from one to the other too soon, you need money, and how do you do that? So I think that for me is one of the main things an entrepreneur should do is if you have your career job and you're thinking about doing something different, start doing it. Do it for a long time because when you switch over, you're somewhat an expert in that area already.
Interesting you say that because I started in the nightclub industry at a very young age.
Yeah.
I started promoting. I was passing out flyers at 15 years old.
Okay.
So talk about exploitation, right? But I was 15, 16 years old, and I was getting into 18 and over clubs already. Mm-hmm. And when I was 17, 18, I was getting into 21 and over clubs already because of the relationships and how I navigate it. But I'm thinking along the way is that for some, they're going to have that job and think of that second career, that option to switch. And then there's some that from the gate, so I've never had a job other than the jobs I've created for myself. But I've been consistent. Now, I ran a 25-year. It's almost like I did that version of entrepreneurship in the entertainment industry for 25 years, and then I pivoted. I don't want to say flip. I pivoted and used all that wisdom to really enhance the real estate development part that I have. I have I have other different businesses that I'm invested in that I'm doing, and even with the show, I'm using all of those skill sets to help continue to elevate my brand.
For sure. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm not working for a bigger company. I'm creating the big company.
Yeah.
So I love what you're sharing because it's at the end of the day, it's the fact. You have that experience. So that's what we need to share with the people that are out there having their job right now, but are really thinking of what their next step is, or are they really thinking about jumping? I call it off the cliff because once you jump, you jump.
Yeah.
There's no coming back. But it takes a lot of guts and a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Your heart is here.
For sure.
And it's not going anywhere. I can see it in the sushi. That, by the way, what's this roll right here? This one with the little...
spicy tuna with habanero tobacco.
All right. Well, we're going to enjoy some of this. And any last words you want to share with anybody out there?
My first podcast.
There you go. I love it. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Hey, first
there's
podcast.
Always a first.
Hey,
you're my first, buddy.
You're my first. You're my first chef.
Yeah.
Damn, man. It's again, Randy. We're gonna do some great things. I want to be a part of your journey, and I want to offer all of our services here and make this thing happen because it's our time.
Yeah.
To take it to the next level. So
cool.
Thank you for being here today, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank everybody. We got Sushi Confidential here, guys. Thank Randy Sushi for being here. Mauricio Mejia live in the heart of Silicon Valley, downtown San Jose. Thank you, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we hit 45,000 people. By the time you are seeing this, we're going to be hitting 50. So let's go. Let's go.
Like, comment, subscribe. Mauricio Mejia live on YouTube.